Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over a very fun game I got to play on the black side of the Accelerated Dragon against a strong FIDE master rate around 2500. In this game, I'm going to be demonstrating why it's not a good idea to castle Queenside when you're playing against Accelerated Dragon. Basically, black is able to create very strong counterplay and, well, get good attacking chances. So, let's get to it. In this game, my opponent started out with e4, of course, and here we go, Sicilian time with pawn to c5. Knight c3 got played. An interesting move order here. Typically, they do play knight f3 here, and knight c3 is typically going to be a close assignment. They don't play d4, but they play the pawn to d3. I played pawn g6 because, well, even against the knight c3 move orders, g6 is just going to be a good way to play against it. Knight e2, again, interesting way to play. Knight f3 typically gets played. Let's put that bishop on the good diagonal, and here they ended up playing pawn to d4 anyways. Pawn takes on d4, knight takes d4, so now we're in the main line, even though they did an interesting move order. And, well, let's just keep developing our pieces. Knight c6 here, developing and attacking the knight on d4. Bishop b3, a very good move here, develops the next piece and defends the knight on d4. Knight f6, just getting ready to castle. And here white plays queen to d2, and already you can kind of sense that, well, maybe white's thinking about castling queenside. As you can see here, queen to d2 is not one of the best moves. One of the ways that I recommend to play this is to play the modern variation, which is bishop c4. The main idea of this is to stop black from playing pawn to d5. If black gets pawn to d5 in, well, black's going to have a good game. So, queen to d2 gets played, and like I said, not the best idea. Black is able to create a lot of counterplay because you can see the pieces are already kind of aiming toward this way already. So, well, let's just go and keep on going. This king needs to get to safety. And here my opponent played pawn f3. And again, this is another good indicator that they are probably going to castle queenside. f3 does two major things. f3 is going to go ahead and defend the e4 pawn, which can become a target, especially if you want to move this knight, let's say to d5. The e4 pawn would be hanging, because the knight could take. So it defends the e4 pawn, but also gets ready for white to prepare a pawn storm over here. White can play then g4, and then h4, h5. And you can see how it has a nice little pawn structure here, and the pawns all work together. It's a very typical idea is for white to try to go h4, h5, and try and open up the h file as soon as possible. Well, if you wait around and don't create your counterplay, white will definitely be better. But it is now black to move and get a good position. Hopefully you remember what I said earlier. It's black to move. What do you play here to get a good position? Alright, if you haven't already, go and give us that like and subscribe. Remember, liking this video is going to share this with more chess players and also help grow the channel. Do you know the move here? I play this against 1800s and below all the time to get a great position because they don't know. Here the move is pawn to d5, and now black is already slightly better. With this move, not only are we able to get our bishop out, but we're going to be able to destroy white's center here. In this one, well, white went ahead and played knight takes on c6. I'll go ahead and mention real quick, pawn takes on d5 does not impress, as knight takes on d5. And, well, as you can see here, white has lost their center pawn. I still have mine. So, although maybe I don't have the advantage immediately, in the future, I'm going to be able to push these pawns forward and, again, get that center all to myself. So, at this point, white went ahead and played knight takes on c6. That's okay with me. Pawn takes back, and here, pawn to e5. It definitely makes sense why they played it. Unfortunately, here, it's just, well, it's just not going to be the best. I do want to mention real quick, if they do take on d5, well then I'm just so happy with this. Pawn takes on d5, and as you can see, I have the two center pawns here and an open b file, so that whenever they do castle queenside, well, I'm just going to have really good attacking chances. And here black is just doing very, very well. But like I said, they went ahead and played pawn e5, which does make sense to a human because, well, although we don't want to help build their center, we do want to try and maintain ours. So pawn e5 gets the pawn out here to attack the knight, and maybe we can just try to hold the center down. Well, here there's a few moves for the knight. I like this move of knight to d7. The knight moves back, puts pressure on e5, and maybe we'll have ideas about either helping preparing c5 or maybe knight b6 or knight c5 here. So a lot of good ideas here. And white here played what I thought they would. They played pawn to f4. They're trying to maintain the center for themselves. And here I played pawn to e6. The idea, well, look at this beautiful pawn chain here. This is just going to be very solid. And as I mentioned earlier, there's definitely c5, d4 ideas that can happen here. And you definitely want the pawn on e6 to help defend this d5 pawn. And here, well, white should have probably just castled right away. Instead, they went ahead and played pawn to h4, which does make sense. Because they're already kind of feeling uneasy in this kind of situation, they want to try and create their counterplay as fast as possible. So, It is now black to move, and what do you do here? Here, well, there's many good moves that you can play. There's rook b8 here, developing the rook, putting pressure on the pawn, developing the queen to a5, maybe c7, maybe playing c5, threatening d4. Again, lots of good moves here. Here, I definitely know the move that I like the most is, well, white has a decent center here. Let's destroy it. Let's collapse this. We're going to go ahead and play pawn to f6. And here I very much like this move because, well, they can't maintain the center at all. If they don't take, then we will take. And, well, my opponent went ahead and took. Here I took back with the knight. Perfect. The knight jumps out the way. The bishop's now opened up. I just am really loving this position here. The knight maybe can go to g4, h5. It's definitely covering over h5. Even if they do want to play, I might just take that pawn and say thank you. And here, white just goes ahead and makes another mistake. Bishop c5. They have too many plans in this situation. They haven't castled queenside. They started at the h4 pawn attack, but they didn't finish it up. And now they're playing bishop c5 to attack my rook. Well, that actually works out perfectly for me. I went ahead and played rook e8. It makes sense to me. The rook goes to a good half-open file, and now I'm threatening to play e5 here, so I can go ahead and open up and attack this king. Well, this gave white all of the intention to go ahead and castle. And, well, now let's just keep up with the idea. Again, many nice ideas here. Here I went ahead and developed the threat with queen over to a5. Not only does the queen come over to attack the bishop for free, but also puts pressure on the pawn on a2. I did think about playing rook b8 right away, but I didn't like this just in case they decide to get a little bit greedy and play bishop takes a7. Not that bishop takes a7 is by any means a great move, but, well, I just thought queen a5 was a better move order that I could do. But, well, I ended up getting very lucky here because my opponent ended up playing one of the worst moves in the position. It was now white to move, and they played pawn to b4, and this is definitely a blunder. Now it is just black to move and win. Yeah, I don't know why they played this. I assume they just got a little too excited here. I definitely think that they were feeling a little bit weak, and black's attack is coming pretty fast here. b2 square is very weak, and we're going to be piling up on that very fast. But b4 lost the game very fast. Here I started off with the first move, of course, of queen to a3 check. And, well, white only has one move. It's king to b1, and now I'll ask you for the final move here. It is black to move. What do you play here to just win the game? You're going to be winning material with a nice triple threat idea. Go ahead and push pause if you want to. If not, enjoy the show. Here we go. It's black to move. What did I play? Here we got to play the very nice and strong knight to e4, and it is game over. My opponent resigns. No worries. I'm going to help you out with what happened here. What does knight to e4 do? Well, the knight is putting pressure on the other knight over here on c3, which is important because, well, the bishop is attacking here too. And, well, the knight is also attacking the queen here on d2. And it's not so simple just to say, hey, can I just take on e4? Taking on e4 would be immediate embarrassment with queen over to b2 for check and mate. And that's why this just collapsed over here. A nice little rule to know is do not move pawns in front of your king. And b4, like I said, was just a really interesting move. I'm not too sure why they would think this was going to be a good idea. But the game ended very fast with his knight to e4 for a nice double or maybe triple attack because of the square on b2 that got attacked. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. This was a very nice demonstration of how to create counterplay when you play against the Accelerated Dragon. With the black pieces, you're going to go ahead and try to attack down the b file and open up the queen side as much as possible. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.